toenails and blistered heels, saw stains streaking down my face. Sun is beating, muscles scream, but I'm moving at my pace. Run the riot! Leave the world behind! Run the riot! You free your body and your mind!
All right. Today on the Run the Riot podcast, we've got Josh. Josh, I didn't ask you how to pronounce your last name, dude. I should have done that before we started recording.
Sprague. But I go by Sprague.
Oh, yeah, that's what I should have just guessed it because that's what I would have guessed. Yeah.
Sprague. Yeah, whatever, right? Yeah.
I like Sprague.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I go, yeah, it just depends on whoever pronounces it. However, I'm just like, yeah, sure. That's close.
Well, dude, my last name's South Louisiana Cajun. It's Terrio, but it's spelled the Riot, the Run the Riot podcast, you know? But so I get everything too, man. It's
I'm
good.
sure.
It's fine. I don't get offended. Yeah. Theriot, Mr. Theriot. Yeah. Fine. Whatever, dude.
Yep. Yeah. I know.
Well, man, I've been excited to chat with you, and already we were talking just a little bit ago, so it's going to be a fun podcast. But man, for people who don't know, who don't recognize your name, maybe just give just a 10,000 foot overview of who you are and what got you to this point right now.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Josh Sprague. I'm from Liberty Hill, Texas, basically Austin, the north end of Austin. And I started a brand called Orange Mud 14 years ago in January of 2012. And the whole premise was our tagline, it's the same today as it was 14 years ago. It's innovation from frustration. I didn't like the waist packs and handhelds on the market and backpacks. So I decided to build my own. And
nice.
14 years later, we have a giant arsenal of packs that are all purpose built for endurance athletes, whether it's run and ride. Ironically, I have a waist belt and handheld products in my category now, which I've always hated, but I actually genuinely like cars. And I still won't run with a handheld. I think handhelds are stupid, but I know a lot of people like them, so I have built two versions. But once I got it good, I'm like, this is great. Back to the bone pile. I personally hate them, but it's been fun to build a passion-based business, where I make things that I wanted for me, and then I obviously take feedback from all of our customers and ambassadors and say, all right, cool, let's shape this to work to as many people as possible, in every design. So yeah, endurance run, endurance ride, adventure race to try. I mean, marathons, you name it. I've done it all. I've done hundreds and hundreds of races, and it's how I shape my designs is, okay, if I'm doing a marathon, then what do I want for that? If I'm doing a trail, ultra, mountain bike, gravel bike, adventure race, whatever it is, how do I shape these designs? So 14 years in, I'm still kicking it, still alive.
Nice. I like it, man. Hey, you forgot to mention one of the most important things you guys produce that I use regularly is the Orange Mud towels.
Yeah.
I got an orange one and I got a green one, man.
Yep. I love that thing. And that was my second design. So we launched in October 2012 is when we came to market, and with a Hydroquiver single barrel. And then the second design was a transition wrap, and which we launched in February 13. And I still remember it because both were innovative and very different. And when I started the brand, I thought innovation was awesome, but I didn't realize how much innovation is actually a penalty. At least it may be a delayed awesome, but it starts as a penalty because you have to educate people. And I didn't understand how challenging that was. I remember calling retail stores and they're like, no one's ever asked for that changing towel and seat cover. I'm like, that's because no one's ever designed it. I mean, it's new, it's great. It's a seat cover, but you change in public. People are like, I'll change in public. Doesn't matter. I'm like, you're right. And it may not, but you're going to do that in a school parking lot, or, if your trails you have trails there, or you don't want some little kid to see you naked. I'm like, you can't do that in today's world. Right. And so that's where there's a lot of perks to this very basic product, protect your seat. But yet if you're in an area where you don't want to be changing butt naked, you throw that on. And so, there was pushback in the beginning, but we made Runner's World Gear of the Year in November of 13. And that was when it changed everything and it put us on the map. And that's what gave us broad market exposure. And there's plenty of people I meet that are not even runners or cyclists, and they're like, orange mud, orange mud. I see you wearing them shirts. Like, people on the soccer team, my kids soccer team, they're like, I know that. Oh, I have your towel. Or sometimes it'd be like a year in, like, dude, I've got your product. I didn't even know this. I love it.
That's awesome.
Because it crosses into, like, if you sweat and you want to keep
Yeah.
your car clean, it's great. You got nasty kids finishing soccer, drenched, stinking, whatever, haven't showered for a few days. You have that on the seat, keeps your seat clean. So yeah, that product is really what put us on the map, and then it gave us the platform to really grow, or the educational reach or the market reach to be able to help expand in the packs. And and then we continued to push. So yeah, it's been a really cool product. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I do, it is like the little side project always, because every pack I usually spend at least 10 months to build, almost on every single pack, except for one that I did quicker, and then many I did way longer. But the transition wrap was like 12 minutes of thought, and then $40,000 in patents later, it came out. It's been a good product, but yeah, it's funny how sometimes the simplest things work really well. So, and this week, check this out. We just launched our new magnetic to complement it. People have asked about this for years. It's a magnet. You can see a clip. It's a magnetic seatbelt cover really is the complement to this, to keep you from sweating. So I got
about meeting a need. That's my thing, dude. I get on the trail and I cover my seat, and then I gotta still put my seatbelt still gets funky, dude. That's fantastic.
Dude, for years I've been meaning to make it, and I worked on it off and on forever. And then finally about last year I was like, I should use magnets. And so this design's super cool. We just got them in, I think yesterday, the day before. So yeah, they just landed. So we just put them live on the website and Amazon. Well, not even Amazon yet, but will be. We call them the seatbelt cover. And so it's simple, but it's just like the transition wrap. It's super simple, super basic, no Velcro to ruin your dry fit gear. And it's machine washable, and it's actually waterproof, so it's a barrier from your body to your seatbelt. And so yeah, it's been fun. So
I don't even think about that, because every time I'll cover my seat, I sit down, I'm all funky from the trail, and I'm like, oh, my seatbelt, but I never just right. Oh, well, it sucks. But there you go. So I'm buying one.
There you go. A lot of times I know I'm driving, I'm like holding my seatbelt off.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Yeah.
So it's fun.
That's good.
Yeah. But it's the same thing. I found a need, and a lot of times it just starts with, I need that for me, and I'm going to make it, and I hope other people like it, and I'm very meticulous. When I build something, it's only going to last a long time. Quality is always, number one. And it's got to be simple, and I don't want it ruining something else, and that's where, it's even like on the transition wrap. That's why I didn't want any Velcro. I use Velcro in my packs in very limited areas, but it's never in a body contact area where it could cause chafing or it could ruin your dry fit gear. So I'm really nerdy about always thinking through those little details to make sure it's going to work right.
That's important. It's the little details that make or break it a lot of times.
No, for sure.
I have to say, and I know people have dealt with everything that I had one of your a bag that was given to me as a gift, the orange mud bag that I use all the time, and it's so well made.
Oh, thanks.
Everything that I've ever had from you guys has been just very well made, good, thick material, solid, and so just good stuff. I was going to ask you. You said you create these things and you got to educate people on it or whatever. So when you did the single barrel, and so I had the single barrel and I had the double barrel, and people were always like, it's got a rocket pack or something like that, because I was there weren't a lot of people running with it initially. And then after a while, you see it all, you see it all over the place, but I guess you just had to let people realize it's real easy. It's good.
Well, no, it was a big problem. And so when we first launched, we were having a lot of people, they would email in as soon as they got it, and they're like, this isn't going to work. There's no way this is going to work. And I'm like, it'll work, but we had to manually respond to every single person saying, no, I didn't design this for your living room. I remember because I said it so many times. Like, I didn't design this for your living room. Like, well, give your money back if you don't like it. But all I ask is that I want you to go for a run in it, and I want you to sweat 3 times in it. Go give it a true test 3 times.
Yeah.
And if you still don't like it, then that's fine. Send it back. We'll
Yeah.
give you your money back. But like, we encourage you to use our stuff. A lot of brands are like, are the tags on it? Like, I will be upset if you buy one of our packs and you return it with the tags on it, because that means you didn't even try. And I mean, I genuinely test everything to the nth degree. I read and I still, 14 years later, I still read every single review that comes in. We've got over 12,000 reviews. And I learn from them and I modify things. So at this point, for a long time, we've been a pretty well-oiled machine with understanding fit with how most body types are going to work. And so it's rare something won't work, but in the beginning, it's where I had to use some automation software because I realized I need to get ahead of this. And so what we did, rather than reacting, we tried to be more proactive. And the proactive stance was, after you bought, say, the Hydro Quiver, it was all product specific. Then on day 3, an email will go out from me saying, "Hey, thanks so much for buying this pack. Here is how to fit it properly for you." And then we noticed from going to races all the time, how we would test psychology, which is always kind of fun. And I'm not a psychologist by any means, but we learned a lot through the process. And what I found to be fascinating is that if we had people put it on and they're like, this is, it doesn't fit right or whatever, and you're like, no, that's not going to rub you. You sit here and you tighten it up and everything, and it's going to be fine. And then you just go for it. Well, what we changed through time was we'd beat them to the punch, and we'd say, we want you to try this on. However, you're going to think it's going to rub you. It's going to chafe you. That's what you're going to think, because I know it's weird, but I didn't design this for your living room. And then once you told people that, the human response is, I want to tell you no. That's just human response 101, right? I mean, sky's blue. Well, I mean, is it? It's cloudy. Yeah. So it's actually great. But, and so that's the human response. And so what we've started finding is we just tell people, hey, you're not going to like this when you first put it on. It's going to feel weird. But once you go for a run, you're going to see it sits right in. And then all of a sudden, like, the extreme majority of people will be like, no, it's comfortable. And meanwhile, I'm like, I know it's not actually very comfortable when you first put it on. It's a weird thing, but it was a weird psychology that we found, or psychological test that we found. So anyway, that's what we used. And once we started doing that, especially when we were new, because you didn't have crowdsourced education. And so when we were new, you had to tell these people that. And so we got ahead of the curve. And then of course we'd even follow it up with, hey, here's how to wash the bottle, here's how to wash the pack, and here's what these pockets are for in this pocket. And then of course over time we don't hardly get those emails anymore, because now we have crowdsourced education where usually people are buying it based upon a referral. Like, hey, I know David uses it, and he likes it, so therefore I'm going to buy it. And that made a big difference. But in the beginning, innovation is a penalty. I've had so many people that have got, like, our transition wrap as gifts. And I was at an expo last year, and this lady comes up to me and she's like, I got to tell you, I've had your product for like 5 years. I never knew it was a changing towel. And she's like, I always wonder why there was that clip in the belt, but she got it as a gift. And so she probably just didn't think much of it, I guess. But she's like, I saw you demoing that for somebody. I never knew that. That's awesome. I'm like, well, how long have you had it? And she's like, 5 years. I'm like, all right, well, if you go to our website, you see it, but hey, that's fine. So
that's great.
So like I said, innovation is largely a penalty that may or may not have a delayed impact, positively down the road. But if you don't educate really, really well, then people are never going to understand it. And I think there's so many websites that are like that. I mean, as a gear nerd, I've bought a million things, and I often I fall down the same rabbit hole where I'll buy something, and like my Kogala light, for example, I don't exactly know how to turn it on or off. I know I hold it for a number of seconds, but I don't know how many. Even when I switch through the colors or the different light levels, I'm not really sure how many light levels there are. And sometimes it just acts weird, and I'm like, I'm probably doing something wrong. I'm sure if I went to their website, I would probably figure it out in 5 seconds. But a lot of people don't do that. And so it's just there's so many sites that do a great job of education, and I don't know if they do, but I'm sure they do. But there's so many sites that do a great job, but there's more sites that do a bad job of education. You buy something and you're like, it's bright, you can run with it, it's great. You're like, cool, but you don't know how to use it. And
Yeah.
so on our website, because of my own frustration with many other products, I purposely overkill the amount of information on our website. We get views from every angle. We spell out, here's what it's used for, here's the weights, here's, weight with a bladder, weight without a bladder, because everybody's so, curious about, everybody has their own things that they're curious about. So we try to get ahead of it, but yeah, it's a wild ride building products and then trying to get every answer to every, consumer, ahead of time.
That's pretty good. I love the fact that so because I want to transition now a little bit, because you were doing endurance sports, you're doing it, and you're like, you just couldn't find what you needed, so you like created it.
Yeah.
So what I don't know, man, tell me about your history in endurance sports. Like what started you running long distances, doing all the things, man? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really started with like growing up, I was a country kid, and like the first time I did a long bike ride, as my cousin was out, and my dad had to go to town to get some sand, and I was like, well, hey, Dad, we're gonna ride our bikes to town, and he's like, yeah, it's a long ways. It's 18 miles on gravel to town, 20 miles total, 2 miles on pavement. And he's like, it's a long ways to town. And we're like, it'll be fine. And I tried to shortcut it a little bit just because I'm a little bit redneck. And so we ended up shortcutting across my neighbor, Jerome, shortcut across his pasture. And we rode through the cattle trails on our BMX bikes and cattle paths. And we didn't take food or water. I knew where all the springs were. And so we got some watercress to eat, which tastes really good. Never ate watercress, but I knew where it always came out where the spring was. And that's where we drink water there. And then there was another spring about halfway in between us and town, and we got water there. But we rode our BMX bikes to town. And again, it was only 20 miles, but when you're 10 or something, it's really unusual to do that. And then we got to town, and my dad bought us each a Fifth Avenue candy bar, which are great. I don't even know if they still make them. And we threw the bikes on the back of the sand trailer and drove home. But I mean, I've always just loved to push and explore in the wild. And I think even creeks, I have walked at the distance of every single creek within 20 miles of where I grew up. And I just would do them looking for crawdads or whatever. I don't know. I was just bored. I was a bored kid. I always liked to explore. And so I think it's just always continued. But I started with cross country in high school and ran track but I think from there I just needed more. It was never far enough for me.
Yeah.
And the real crux that got me going is adventure racing, and it was a Muddy Buddy that I did that I was like, I like this run and bike thing. This is cool. Let's do. And I wanted dirt. I didn't really want tri, even though I've done Ironman and whatnot. But it was the adventure race bug that bit me, and I've done over 100 of those now, and there it gave me everything I wanted, because it gave me the mountain biking that I love, gave me the trail running that I love, gave me the kayaking that I love, and then it gave me the fear, because you're just with map and compass going for it, and it just gives this whole different experience of adventure that is hard to beat in a organized race where you're just run up to the next water cup. That was just that. No knocks on it. It's just that's not what I enjoy as much. I like the spirit of adventure where you're just going big and hoping you're going to make it to the next location.
Yeah, that's good. So do you still live in Texas?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you didn't move to the mountains or anything.
When I started Orange Mud, we were in California, and then
gotcha.
Once I was able to quit my day job, we made the decision to either go to Colorado or Texas, and we went to Castle Rock in the Front Range in the south of Denver, and it was good, but we just didn't like the ice and the snow as much, and I'm just through and through a cyclist and trail runner, and yes, it's great there, but I didn't like the snow and ice because it would definitely hamper some of that in the winter. And my wife definitely did not like the cold. So I was, finally one day I was actually down here on a wild pig hunt, and I biked 160 miles in March, spring break of 7 years ago, 2019, and did a pig hunt and mountain bike, and and biked 160 miles, and I got a sunburn. Meanwhile, there was like a foot of snow on the ground, and I called her. I'm like, hey, what do you say we moved to Texas? I'm like, I've shot a pig with my bow this week, and I mountain biked and got a sunburn. I'm like, we should move to Texas, and we did. We moved 2 months later.
I got my country boy on.
Yeah, I was back. Yeah, that's what's fun. You know, I grew up in Kansas, and I went to Arizona, and then I was running a company in Cali, and so I had to move out there, and that's what took us to California. But it's funny, over the years, I didn't make it back to Kansas. I love Kansas, but I do like a little more warmth after living in Arizona and Cali over the years, and Texas is like the perfect blend of Kansas mentality. You know, it's just super friendly people everywhere. But you know, still strong access to water and the outdoors, and good food, and you know, just a good adventurous spot. So it's been a great place.
Nice. What part of Kansas did you live in?
Eastern Kansas. I grew up in the country about 30 miles west of Topeka.
Gotcha.
Nearest town was Paxico, Kansas, a town of 106 people. Somebody's born, somebody dies. It never changes. It's like 106 people as far as I can remember.
Did I see that you did some of the Lawrence, Kansas races? Like the Hawk 100 or something. Okay,
I've done the Hawk 100, the 50, and the marathon twice. Yeah, once on Fireball, once regular.
Yeah, nice. I haven't done the Hawk 100, those Hawk races. I haven't done yet, but I've met those folks when they do I've done the Prairie Spirit quite a few times at Rails to Trails out there in Ottawa. Great races, put on with great people. I always love travel. It's about 3 hours north of us. Yeah, and it's great. It's flat.
Yeah. No, the Hawk, dude. I tell you, the Hawk is my favorite. It's my favorite group of people. The Lawrence Trail Hawks they're just incredible. Everybody there, there's zero egos. It's all friendly, and they just love to have people in and to run the trails at Clinton Lake. And it's great because there's a trail marathon of 50 and 100, and all of them are fun. If you want to go out and hammer, it's your place. You want to go out and go easy and party and just have a great time, it's your place. And nice. They're just, it's just one of the most peaceful events I've ever been to. If that makes any sense. It's just a happy place. If you want an inspirational place to go and you want to tackle some big things, whether that's a marathon or 50 or 100, to me, it's my favorite trail race out there.
I met those folks when I first ran Prairie Spirit. I think 2017. They do one of the aid stations there, and I just always remember them, and I've seen them every time I've gone back. And I was like, I need to go run their race, and I still need to go run their race. I got no excuse. I just need to do it.
They'll get you, man. It's a fun time. Yeah, it's all in September every year, so it's coming up. Every year I keep meaning to do it again. Maybe I'll go do it this year. We'll see.
There you go. Maybe it's just a reminder you needed to go back and visit.
I might have to do that. Yeah. I grew up about 40 minutes from there, so it is nice too, because I go back, and even like when I ran the 100 there, my son came up, met me at the finish line, gave me a big hug, and of course you break down in tears at that point. It's just Lawrence is one of the coolest parts of Kansas. Everybody says Kansas is flat, but Eastern Kansas has some awesome hills. I mean, big stuff, and even
Flint Hills, and
the Flint Hills too. I mean, you've got big canyons back in there, and most people don't appreciate how much topography there is. I mean, I've done a lot of races in Kansas, a lot of bike races there, and there's a lot that'll really make you suffer. Western Kansas, it's more flat, but still, there's still some really big stuff there too. You get out there around Wilson, and sure, it's Lake Wilson. It has its flat, but man, there's some giant canyons out there. Western Kansas is like if you're driving on the highway, everybody always bags on Kansas. I'm like, you know what? Eastern Colorado sucks.
I've done it.
It's flat. Well, that's what I'm like. Eastern Colorado sucks, and everybody always they always blame Kansas for the flatness. There's a lot of the Eastern Colorado is to blame, but everybody thinks of Colorado, they think of mountains. They never think of all the Eastern Colorado portion that sucks when you leave Kansas. But somehow Kansas always gets the short end of the stick because they're like, well, it's like 8 hours across flat Kansas. I'm like, no, it's only like 4 hours of flat. And of course, that's only on the highway. If you just go north or south of it, there's still big stuff. Anyway, It's a great place.
Well, man, so you started doing it like adventure races and stuff, and
Yeah.
what I guess talk a little bit about one of the things you've I don't know, I guess you make hydration things for people to carry their hydration. What kind of, like, I don't know, you've been around the sport quite a bit. What kind of mistakes do you see people making when they're doing these races, especially like right now? It's stinking hot right now.
Yeah.
Even probably pretty hot there in Texas also.
Oh,
And
yeah.
every conversation I'm having with the runners that I coach, I'm dying, and we're talking about hydration. Is that what mistakes you see people making?
Yeah, the first is having a drinking pattern, and something we learned in adventure racing a long time ago was timing. And so forever, I had a cheap Timex watch that would go off every 15 minutes, and we'd do this even if we were racing for like 3 days straight. You'd hear beep, and everybody'd be like, drink, and it's just what we did as a team. And every 15 minutes nonstop for as long as we'd race, 12, 24-hour, multi-day, whatever. But that protocol is always in my brain, and I still do it to this day. I don't always use timers just because a lot of these stupid watches, it's hard to get a drink timer to work, which is crazy. We've got like $800 watches on our wrist that sometimes can't even do these things. But I look at it every 0, 15, 30, and 45 on the clock is how I look at it. But so drinking consistently is one of the best things that you can do. And another thing that I really like, and is on a hydration bladder. There's a lot of times in my bottle-based packs. That's what I love about them, is because you can drink, and 15 minutes in, you're like, okay, cool. I drank X amount of water. Then I know I've already had, 5 ounces, right? And so it's easy to measure it. And at the end of it, in a bladder, you don't. If you have 2 liters, 70 ounces of fluid on your back, you don't know how much you're drinking. You just know you
can't tell
had a
by
drink.
feeling it. I try to squeeze it. You just can't tell. Yeah.
Yep. So here's my trick, and I figured this out quite a few years ago, is that I'll take a measuring cup and I'll take 5 pulls, drinks, like drink from bite valve, spit it out in the cup, and repeat that 5 times or 10 times, however many you want to do it. And then let's say you do it 10 times, and then you obviously divide by 10. If you have 10 ounces in there, every time you take a drink from a bite valve, you're drinking 1 ounce, or whatever that math comes out to you. And so then, okay, well, if I'm going to drink every 15 minutes and I want to achieve 20 ounces per hour, I need to drink 5 ounces every 15 minutes. Therefore, I need to drink 5 times. Like for me, I drink 3 times, 3 pulls on the bite valve, and that to me translates to approximately 20 to 24 ounces of fluid per hour. So that way I know that I run my own strategy. Otherwise, you have no idea. You might and I'm not going to say I'm perfect with it, but I'm pretty good with it. But there are times where I'm like, in the suck of a race, and I'm like, oh gosh, I haven't drank for 45 minutes, and then maybe your brain goes a little bit off, but you'll just be like, all right, I'm going to drink a lot. Just drink all you can. But if you do that, you drink every 15 minutes, and you mathematically calculate what your drink rate is. Like, we all have different suction, I guess, that we use in our mouths with how we drink from bite valve, and different bite valve brands are different too. But if you do that, and you at least can maintain your proper fluid. So that's step one, is getting the right amount of fluids. And then the other is testing the different flavors. And now brands of hydration mixes are really important too, to find the ones that are going to work for you. And everybody has to find what's going to work for your gut. But I would always challenge people to try not just the brand, but the flavor. And because for me, I use Infinite Nutrition. I have mad love for these guys. I've been using it for 12 years. And my gut is always perfect. It's just, I don't have GI issues. I've had a lot of GI issues on other brands. But what I learned over the years, even though I don't have issues with Infinite in the lemon lime flavors, what I use, if I try their orange flavor, it doesn't work with me, because my perception in my brain perceives it as too rich. It's fine for a shorter distance, but when I'm talking specifically long duration, usually you don't know how your hydration works with you until you've been running or riding for at least 4 to 12 hours, somewhere in that range. And especially when it's hot, like your fluids are hot and it's hot out. And so I find like orange flavor for me my body, my senses interpret it as too rich. And if it's too rich, it seems too sugary and I don't like it, even though it's the exact same concentration. I have the
Yeah,
exact
yeah,
same
yeah,
formula. And
yeah,
so that's where it took me a long time to realize this, because I have bounced between brands a lot. I was using a different brand for a long time. And then one day I got sick on it. And then I was like, I'm not going to do that ever again.
yeah.
But I
Been there.
went through testing all these different ones, and I think I got lucky landing on Infinite and the lemon lime. I just found it to be a sweet spot for me. So I would test the different flavors, even if it's something you may not normally like. Like I hear people like, "Oh man, the watermelon flavor is great." I'm like, "Cool. Can you eat watermelon all day long?" And
Yeah,
maybe the
yeah,
answer is yes, but ultimately, sometimes those flavors that we like I like orange things. I use orange mayo in my water all the time. Probably die of cancer from it, but I like it. But it's like it doesn't work for me in a hydration mix. So there's certain things that when it comes to drinking all day, I actually test. Oh, I remember doing this with Infinite, but with many others. I don't use ice when it's really hot out. I put water in at tap, and I'll go for a long run. And I purposely want it to be hot because that's how it's probably going to be on race day. You're probably just going
yeah,
to be dealing with what you're going to deal with. And when the water's hot and you have your hydration mix in it, you'll have a much better, much more accurate representation of what your body is going to be going through on race day, and therefore you can probably figure out whether it's going to work for you. So make sure you drink every 15 minutes. Calculate your drink rate. Test different flavors. Train with your water warm. A lot of people are always like, well, I want an insulated sleeve or I want this. I'm like, no, that stuff is going to work,
yeah,
for an hour, sure. But once you go into the longer stuff, all of it's hocus pocus. It's like, it's
yeah,
going to be warm or warmer. And then the other piece is electrolytes. And for me, I know I can do anything. I proved it time and time again, whether I'm in shape or not. I know I can do anything as long as I stick with at least 200 calories per hour, or at least maybe 170, but in most cases, always 200 is my baseline minimum. And then sodium and magnesium. You got to get those electrolytes. And if you
yeah.
get those, then your body stays in the right polarity and you can go for as far as you want.
Yeah, no, that's good. And one of the things I think I would add to that I've been learning recently, I got one of those H drop sweat detectors or whatever. My
Yeah.
sodium content
Yeah.
is I sweat much more than I thought I did, and
Yeah.
I need like Element. That's just one of the brands people are using a lot now, but it has I don't know what 900 of sodium,
Yeah.
and that's about what most people really need when they're really
Yeah.
sweating a lot, depending on temperatures and all that stuff. But I found anyway, having to take
Yeah.
a lot more sodium than I thought.
Yeah, I did a sweat test as well years ago, and I found it was either 1,000 or 1,100 milligrams
Yeah,
per hour.
yeah, it's
And
crazy.
I was like, wow. She's like, I remember when she did it. She's like, man, you sweat a lot. I was like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, how would this? And that was one thing I found fascinating too. I was like, well, how would this change if it's cold versus hot? Like if it's 100
Right.
degrees versus 70, and she's like, it's the same. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, it's the same. Your body perspires at the same, it's getting rid of these minerals at the same rate, roughly, whether it's really cold or really hot, which I didn't know. I never really thought about that. Now you're in, maybe if it was really cold, maybe you're not working as hard, maybe, and it changes it a little bit, or I don't know. But I did find that fascinating. So ever since I run I think my formula has 1,100 milligrams in it. And
Yeah.
and I only cut it back if I know that I'm doing something pretty chill. Maybe it's a bike
Yeah.
packing thing where I'm racing 20, 22 hours a day, but I'm not going at a level 2+3 rate. I'm going at a 1 or 2, an easy path. That I'll back off my nutrition, or in a 24-hour adventure race. If I know that maybe we're not going to be going at a rate that is excessive, then I'll back it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I always carry a spare supplements with me just in case. And there's so many people that I see that have cramping and GI issues. And a lot of times those GI issues is because you get your polarity mixed up, and next thing you know, your body can't process the nutrition, and then your stomach
Exactly.
says, "Suck it! You're getting ready to taste these gummy bears again." So,
Yeah, bubble gut. Bubble gut just sits
the
there.
worst, man.
That's
That's
terrible.
what running is so hard. Like cycling, I am a kitchen sink. I can do anything eating wise, cycling, but running, I'm definitely more cautious.
Yeah.
I've thrown up enough running and trail running, ultra endurance stuff that once you do that, like I had a whole half Ironman once where I tried to throw up every 100 to 200 yards for the entire 13.1 miles of
Oh
the
gosh.
marathon, the half marathon. It was terrible. And I remember one of my buddies came by and I was sitting on a bench and they're like, Sprague, you all right? I'm like, no. They're like, you're really pale. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I feel terrible. I had my fingers, I didn't think you could do this, but I put my fingers so far down my throat. I'm like, I know I just need to throw up. But I tried some new nutrition on the race that morning. And keep in mind, at that time, I was doing, like 24-hour adventure races. We were doing them a lot, and a lot of 12-hour adventure races. Like a half Ironman was not even a thought. It was just a training day. And here I'm freaking sitting down on a bench in a, I'm brutal. But triathlon's the hardest. Triathlon is number one, the hardest to get nutrition right. Because you go from here swimming to here hunched over biking and then standing up running. When you stand up, all of a sudden your stomach's like, your stomach is not happy. And all of a sudden it gets pressure and it's like, you're going to feel not good. And Ironman triathlon is definitely one of the hardest sports to get nutrition right. But then next would be the ultra running side. And then after that, like everything else is easy for me.
So you've done adventure races. So I've got, I've done a few of the 200s and I'm doing the Bigfoot 200 in August. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I find just talking about nutrition, hydration and all that, and you probably dealt with this, I guess, in adventure racing is you trickle calories. You got to have calories as you're going. These aid stations are 20 miles apart, sometimes 25. But then I eat real food. You chow down at the aid stations, and so that was a harder, I guess, thing for me because you can even for 50 miles or something, you can kind of survive on pretty liquid calories, gels and stuff. But when you get that long and you're doing real food with it, it's just a different kind of animal because you've got to make it between the aid stations and you can't carry a burger with you. But boy, a burger sure is good, or quesadillas and stuff when you get to the aid station and you fuel up, but you got to give your electrolytes right. Yep. Or you're gonna taste it again when you get a few miles out of the aid station. But how did y'all for the adventure racing and stuff? Did y'all do something similar, or just trickle calories the whole time, or how did you handle that?
Well, so trickle calories for sure. Generally 24 hours and under, it's mostly just liquid nutrition. But when you go over 24 hours, and there's plenty of times in even shorter distances, 12 to 24 hours where I do want some food. I mean, if there's a slice of pizza or something, heck yeah, man, I'm going to freaking throw it down. Hamburger, I don't care what it is. But in say the trail running space, and even in any space when I'm doing, the longer stuff, I like to have a sweet food and salt food because your body's only going to crave one or the other. We're essentially batteries. It's all a human is, right? And so, or plus and minus, and salt and sweet are the two different things that your body is going to crave. So I'm a big fan of like bacon strips or pickles or pickles. And I'll throw them in a Ziploc bag and keep them on one side. And then the other side, maybe peaches or blueberries, or I've even taken guacamole and Subway sandwiches and Domino's pizza. Man, that stuff will live a long time in a Ziploc bag. We were doing, my friend Jack and I, we were doing this adventure race in Big Bear years ago. And I remember when the race started, I told my buddy Paul, the race director, I was like, Paul, I'm like, man, this is only supposed to be like a 12 or 16-hour adventure race or something like that. I'm like, there's no way anybody's going to finish it in that time. I'm like, you're having us go north. We're already in the desert, down low in the sand, not up in the mountains. And I'm like, you're having us go north, and we're going north for a long ways. I'm like, there's no way anybody's going to finish this. And I figured it was going to be 24 hours, and I think it took us like 18 or 19. And so he's like, no, it's going to be fine. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. So next thing you know, we're racing and it was like, I think it was sunrise. And we started at, I think 4 p.m. if I remember right. And I think it was sunrise the next morning. We were actually quite a ways back. There weren't very many teams left in the race because most people got lost in the first section and DNF'd. But that being said, there was a handful of us teams left, and we're getting ready to go over this. We were in the mountains. We were getting ready to go over another mountain in the mountains. And I remember telling Jack, I'm like, dude, should we eat that pizza? we've been carrying since 3 in the afternoon the day before. And he's like, yeah, man, that sounds great. So we busted out our Domino's Meat Lovers pizza that we had in a 1-gallon Ziploc bag in my backpack, getting freaking shook back there in the heat. And it was really hot. I mean, it was like 100 plus when we started. And we ended up getting rescued by, well, not rescued, but we found some lights. To put it in perspective, we found some lights by, we called the guys Santa Claus. We were lost in like 2 or 3 in the morning, and we'd been out of water for quite some time. And we went up to them, and I thought we were gonna get shot for sure, because it was we get up there and like, oh man, this is a fenced off compound, like we're totally about to get murdered, and all of a sudden, like lights come on everywhere. I'm like, we're definitely getting murdered. It was like an encampment. I thought it was like a prison or something. Turns out there's some freaking gold miners been living off grid for like a year. Anyway, long story short, they gave us water, and aside from that, we didn't have anything until like this next morning. And which is a whole funny thing about them. But anyway, so we're sitting there in the bottom of this mountain, and I was like, Jack, we can go over this or we can go around it. But I know we're like 30th place right now. I think we'll go over it. I think we'll beat like probably almost everybody. But I'm like, I'm starving. And so we sit down, and we're just sitting there on the ground, throwing down our Meat Lovers pizza. And as we're doing this, Paul, the race director, pulls up. He's like, Josh, Jack, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're eating pizza. He's like, where'd you get pizza? We're like, we've been carrying it since yesterday. And he's like, you guys need to go. And we're like, no, dude. Like, we will. We're going over. And he's like, you can't go over that mountain. I'm like, yeah, we're going over. And we did. That Meat Lovers pizza, man, it propelled us up and over this freaking mountain. And sure as shit, we went from, I think we ended up getting like 7th in that race. But we went from 30th, somewhere in that range to like 7th. But we were fueled by pizza. And then we had like 50 miles of mountain biking. And not too long after that, we got on mountain bikes. And it was just a shit show. But it was fun, but yeah, to me, it's a weird, crazy story, but I love real food in these races. When you hit a low point, you're like, man, we're a long ways back. This race isn't going like we thought, but hey, I got some food or a payday bar. Like I love payday bars and Slim Jims; those are great in races too. So but again, if in like when you're doing the 200. Most people are not running that. Most mere mortals are power hiking it. And you could eat a Subway sandwich if you wanted to. You could probably eat it whatever you want, and you'll probably be fine. Because I do believe your body, once you're doing the big stuff, it goes into like, hey, you're doing something real stupid, and I'm cool with it. However, you better give me some real food, because if you're going to only pump me full of maltodextrin over the next 48, 90 hours, I'm going to hate you for the rest of your life. It's not going to be pretty. So have a hamburger, but sometimes you run into that, like bike packing. We live off gas stations and there's a lot of these bike packing races, and that's a lot of fun, just to roll into Casey's and throw down a whatever, Meat Lovers pizza, payday, 40 ounces of Coca-Cola, whatever you want. Yeah, you eat whatever you want when you're doing real stupid stuff.
You ever done something like that in South Louisiana?
No. Never done a race in Louisiana.
Because I'm from South Louisiana, dude, and you stop at a gas station and you're gonna get some. Now your stomach might get a little angry, but boy, it's so good. You get some boudin, some cracklings and stuff. Boy, that I love. Like after I'm from South Louisiana, a day of training, man. After a long race, man, a link of boudin. You know what boudin is? That right? Yeah, so good after.
Throw a little hot sauce on it, and you're good to go.
That's good to get. Yeah, but
dude,
good stuff,
I did a 100-mile gravel bike ride the other day, and I just had a stressful day for something. I don't know what it was, but I told my wife I need to go for a ride. And so I went to my ranch, and then my ranch, the pavement ends just past my cabin. And so, and then it's dirt as far as you want to go, like to Arizona or New Mexico, whatever. It's forever. And so I went up, I was like, I'm going to go ride 30 miles. And so I took nutrition for 30 miles. But then when I got up there, I took off and I was heading north. And I was going north, and I started riding in an area that I hadn't been to. I've rode a lot out there, but I generally go west or northwest. But this time I went straight north, and I'm riding along, and I was feeling good, and there was a tailwind. It was ripping that day, like 20 mile an hour. And I was like, this is awesome. I think I'm just going to ride. I don't know, I'm going to keep going. But I didn't have any other nutrition with me, and I didn't know where I was going to get water. And there aren't a lot of towns out there. And so I looked on Google Maps, and I saw this town of I think it was, speaking of Bodine, I think it was Bodine, Bodin. And I think is what it was. Anyway, I looked and I zoomed in to see if they had gas stations there, and they had a gas station, and it was 51 miles in. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
So I got there, and when I rolled in, the guy sees me come in, in spandex, leave my bike out front, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Shit, man, I'm just having a great day." I'm like, I had a tailwind all the way here, and I showed up. I got a payday, a Slim Jim, a Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, and a thing of jalapeno poppers out of the to-go thing. And he's like, "What's you eating all this right now?" I was like, Maybe I'll take some with me. I'm not real sure, but I got either way, it's coming with me. And I did. I ate a 6 or 8 pack of jalapeno poppers, and I tell you what, salt and just I got my vegetables, I got my dairy, salt. I don't know. There's probably something good in there. I'm not real sure, but I tell you what, aside from having a headwind the whole entire way back,
I was gonna say way back,
not really thought about that was a mistake. I called my wife and I was like, I'm not going to be home before dark. I'm like, I was blindly optimistic that I would be able to go faster on the way back. I knew I probably shouldn't be averaging 22 miles an hour because I've never averaged that speed for 50 miles. But turns out the way back was going to be like 5 to 8. and that was pretty brutal. And I'm doing the math. I'm like, dang, I'm riding 50 miles. And if I average 5 miles per hour, it's going to take 10 hours. I'm like, I got to go a little faster. And I'm like, cool. Now it's 6 miles per hour. How long is it take? It's still a long time. So yeah, it was a good night. But yeah, powered by, gas station food. It gets you a long ways.
Dude, adventures like that are fun, man. I can't tell you how many times I just run and I'm like, especially out and back, and like, I just go a little further, or just, I'm going to go that way. What's over there? Just what's this trail?
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah. No, it's my friends know that they go out with me doing things that there's a high probability things are going to go kind of sideways, and you just got to kind of roll with it. So you start to realize who your friends are, because they're either like, no, I'm not going to do that, or Josh, we're not going to try that new trail. I'm like, why not? It'll be fine. Probably it's going to be fine.
Yeah, maybe, whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
Got a phone.
We might be here all day, but it's okay.
Well, this is that reminds me of like some of the things, challenges you see people do. And there's a race here in Tulsa that my good friend Kathy, she's done, I forgot how many hundreds she's done. She's at 40 something, maybe 50 now. I don't know. Anyway, you use the QT gas stations as and it's like a 25-mile loop tour around Tulsa, and you do it 4 times if you do the 100, and you use the gas station for it. And we're talking about doing what these guys did, where it's the Taco Bell one, where you do like a 50K and you got to stop and you have to eat something at every Taco Bell you go to, which will probably be a horrible error, but it'd make a good story.
I'd do that in a heartbeat. I love Taco Bell.
My wife's like, that's stupid. I was like, that's the fun of it, man.
It is. Dude, I'll tell you a funny story about Taco Bell. So I was doing a Ironman Tempe years ago, and I didn't even want to do it. It was fun, but my teammate talked me into it, and I was like, all right, fine. So I'm on the run in my mile 18, and this guy's just cramping next to me. As I'm coming up to him, I see him like freezing up, cramping really bad. I was like, oh God. And back then, even I actually wore a backpack in the race, and I carried because again, I'm an adventure racer. I've always been that through and through, and so I'm the one idiot out there carrying a backpack. Or at least back then, there was hardly anybody doing that. Now more and more people understand, like, oh, I can run my own nutrition strategy, and maybe that makes sense. But I came up to the guy and I was like, hey man, I see you're cramping. You want some electrolytes? I got some here. I'll give them to you. And he was real snarky about something. I forget. He was all butthurt, and he's like, "No, I know. I've been training for blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it'll probably help, And I'm just trying to help. You don't want them, that's fine."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, we're almost there. Like beer and Taco Bell, it's right there at the freaking finish line." And I remember he looked at me stone cold in the face, and he's like, "Sir, I've been training nonstop for a year. I don't put shit like that in my body." He just looked at me so mean, where I'm like, okay.
Bruh. And
then I remember looking back at him, I'm like, all right, buddy. I'm like, well, you're cramping, so good luck. And I just took off running. I was like, what a dick. I'm like, all I'm trying to do is help the guy out and just be playful. Like, man, I'm ready for beer and Taco Bell, which was true.
Yeah.
And he's so judgmental. But That's why I stick to dirt.
We talked before we started recording. You talked about how during COVID, how things changed a little bit. And one of the things we noticed on a lot of the trail races here, because we still did the trail races out here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of road runners trying to find an avenue to run, and they'd show up at the trail races. And I remember like one of the first ones, man, we're out there running. And this one guy who was a road runner through and through, wearing all the things, but nothing again. I do marathons and stuff too, whatever, but way too serious, dude. He's like, man, these loops are long, you know? And I'm just like, bonus miles, man, whatever, you know, everything in the trails is ish, you know, 5 miles ish. I don't know. And it was just funny, the attitudes, and a lot of them came around, and now I see them on the trails, and you know, they fell in love with it. But at first, man, they had to flip that switch, because they're just like, this is not exactly a 5 mile loop, or, you know, it's like, whatever. Hey there, my friends. Before we jump back into today's episode, I want to thank today's sponsor, Mount to Coast. You guys know I'm pretty picky about the gear that I recommend. I don't talk about products unless I've actually put them through the miles first. And over the past, I don't know, a good while, I have been training in their R1 road shoe, and more recently their T1 trail shoe. Here's if you're watching on YouTube, here's the road shoe. I've got a ton of miles on this thing, and it's beautiful. It's in great shape. And here's the trail shoe. You gotta love a dirty trail shoe, man. I love when they come in they're brand new, but boy, I love to get those bad boys dirty. Listen, I've been genuinely impressed by these shoes. They're comfortable right out of the box. They've held up really well through a lot of tough training, and they're quickly building a reputation for making durable shoes designed specifically for endurance and ultra runners. If you're looking for a new road or trail shoe, I want to encourage you to head on over to Mount to Coast and use the code RIOT10 to save 10% on your order. That's RIOT 10, the number 10. And I'll have the link down in the show notes with all the information. Thanks again, Mount to Coast, for supporting the Run the Riot podcast. Now let's get back to the episode.
It's a beautiful part of trail running. You know, in a marathon, if you walk, it's like, gosh, you have, 40,000 people around you and everybody's running. You always feel like you have to run, but it's a beautiful part of trail running. If you feel like you got to walk, you just walk. That's my favorite part of trail running.
Yeah, sometimes somebody will stop and walk with you. You know, to come up, what's up, man? Let's
like, how you doing? Yeah, do you need anything? No, I just feel like walking. Oh, okay.
Well, and that's expected on the trails and ultra community. Like, you help some, like I can't tell you how many times I've done the same thing, help somebody else, and they're like, oh, cool, thanks, man. You got a friend for life, you know? Or you share some miles with them and pull them along a little while, or they pull you along a little while. And it's great. Yeah, I love that.
Anything dirt, man. That's where the heroes are made. I love it.
It's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yep.
What's your favorite race you've done, man? What's your favorite trail race or run you've done?
Well, on the trail, it's for sure the Hawk. Actually,
really?
one of the
sweet.
Talking about the walking side, when I did the Hawk 100 years ago, I was running with my buddy Kevin at the beginning, and one of the funniest parts about it, we ran the first 50 miles together, and I ran, some of us kind of run and walk and hike and whatever, but as we were going along, there were a couple points that were funny. One, he stepped on a copperhead, and like, he's right in front of me, and I mean, we both have headlamps on, and all of a sudden I see the snake in the trail just right before he stepped on it. And all of a sudden I'm like, God dang, Kevin, you stepped on a copperhead. He's like, no. I'm like, no, dude, look, that's a copperhead. He's like, whoa, shit. I'm like, how did you not see that? I'm like, this big old dirt trail, that sucker stuck out pretty dang good. I'm like, you gotta be careful. And so that was kind of fun. And again, we weren't even, I don't even know if we were running at that point. I think we were going up a hill or something. We might have been power walking it up. And then another part that was pretty cool is I was telling my buddy Kevin a story as we were running, and there was a gal in front of us, and as we were sitting there cruising along, she stops and she's like, wait a minute. I'm like, what? She's like, are you Josh from Orange Mud? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, you're in my ears right now. I'm like, well, I don't understand. She's like, I was listening to your podcast. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But anyway, it was just kind of one of the weird, funny things that I used to have a podcast. I haven't done it for 5 years now, but yeah, and I mean, it's the Hawk is just, everybody's so friendly. I mean, they make all these awesome pickles, and every year Sherry Clover's always made them, or to my knowledge, she still does, and they bring them out there, and like the food is actually good. There's a lot of
Yeah.
races like there's food, but it's different to have like really really nice food. But just one of the nice parts too is that you get to see people, and I think one of the things that sometimes I think we miss in some of these races is that you get strung out so much that you may not even be running with anybody or you may not really see people. And I
Yeah.
find this in cycling races and running races both, where a lot of times you end up getting in that group of, this plus or minus half a mile pace that you're in, you're
Yeah.
going to run with them or ride with them same people probably the whole entire time. You
Yeah.
start to figure
Yeah.
out who you really, honestly, there should be an app for it where you're like, hey, make a note of these 12 other people within plus or minus a half a mile of me in this endurance race from mile 12 hours on, because I want to connect with them the next time I do a race somewhere, because we probably are all dang near equal. It's like,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
any sport, it's hard to go out for a run or skiing or whatever it is with people. If they're way slower or way faster than you, it'd be a great way to be like, hey, can I get your number? Next time, nothing weird or anything, just so we can actually hang out. But anyway, what I like about this course is that since it's a loop, you do frequently see these people. So even though your friends may be faster or slower than you, you do see them on the loops. You'll have those points where you'll cross, or you
Yeah.
see them in the aid stations, and since it's a marathon loop, you have in the 50 or the 100, you have the ability to see them, 2 or 4 times, or more times even on the course with the way it's laid out. So, and then the views from there, it's not a mountain per se. But they have a little hill in the I forget what they call it, but it's in about the turnaround point, and it's just gorgeous, big grassy meadows. And as a Midwestern guy, like, I love fields of gold, and that's what
Yeah.
I think of when I think of sunrise on that course or sunset is the field of gold of the dead grass up there in that time of year in September. That's gorgeous. So that's one of my favorites on the run side. But yeah, I mean, I've got bazillions of favorites. It just depends
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
which way you want to go with, hallucinations or whatever. There's all kinds of fun stuff
Well,
out there.
you got to tell me at least one of your hallucination stories. I love to hear about those, man.
Yeah. So I got one that's my absolute favorite, and I've told it before, but it's my favorite is my golden retriever Lady. I bought her when I lived in Kansas, and when I was like 20, and she lived to be just shy of 13. And she showed up when I was doing a race across South Dakota. It was like 5 years ago, I think. Now it's 720-mile gravel bike race across the entire state of South Dakota. And I was on the 4th or 5th day, probably 80 miles or 90 miles from the finish. And it was going into late afternoon. And sure, I was probably sleep deprived a little bit. I've been biking, 20 plus 22 hours a day for multiple days. But as I was cruising along, my dog Lady appeared like 15 feet in front of me, 10 to 15 degrees off angle. And I couldn't look at her. She disappeared. But if I looked straight ahead, she was clear as a bell. And she kept looking back at me with her tongue hanging out. And it was the coolest thing that I've ever had happen to me in as far as that goes, in a race. And she was with me for like 2 hours. This wasn't like a blink. This was hours. Like I was crying going down the trail. So I mean, one of my favorite dogs ever. She was just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was for sure something where I questioned the material fibers of what a human being even is, because I didn't feel like I was exhausted. I
Yeah.
really didn't. It's just something where I was good. I was strong, felt great. I was putting out a good pace. I wasn't like I was hanging on for dear life trying to stay awake. It wasn't that at all. So I can't explain how it happened. But I'm sure there's a chemistry in our bodies that gets messed up that maybe creates it if you're trying to be scientific. But if you want to be spiritual, maybe it's like God put her there. I really don't know.
Yeah.
And I never will know, but I know it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had my whole entire life. Is riding with my dead dog for a couple hours.
She
awesome.
came visit. She came visit a little while.
It was seriously, it was incredible. Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, we were chatting before we hit record, and you said something that I thought was I don't know. We were talking about, I guess the way to put it into a question is like you talked about doing the races but just getting out there. So like why do you do, or why do we do the thing we do? Why do we do these endurance things? Or like what's your reason for I don't know, getting out there and riding 50 miles with the tailwind and having to turn around and, back.
Embrace the suck on the way back.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your, why do we do this stuff, man?
Well, I will say that when I started doing endurance races, it was more of a bucket list. And it was like, I want to do that race. I want to do this distance, or I want to do this discipline. And it was just cool because I'm picking things off. And it was like, oh yeah, you've done an Ironman. I've never done that. Okay, let's go do an Ironman. And then okay, well maybe let's go do an ultra. Let's go do a mountain bike. Let's go do gravel. Let's go do 100. Okay, 200. Okay, 300. Oh, 500. Okay, 700. And I've hit my limits on all of them. Like, would I like to ride further than 720-mile bike race? I don't know. Maybe, but I've kind of realized, like, I think I'm good. Like 500 and under is good, and on a run, I love ultras, but I like 50 and under now. And I think that's a sweet spot for me where I can enjoy it. 100 miles great, or 200s are great for people, but for me, I just have learned, like, hey, I think 50 and under is kind of my sweet spot. 50K to 50 miles is a sweet spot for me. And because I've done all these things, you hit a point where I don't need to check it off the list. So I think now, COVID was the reset for me, where I now want to just share in the experience, and I want to add the journey and the adventure. I want to look around more. I go in my back patio every morning and I watch the sunrise, and I study birds and mosquitoes and whatever it is that's out there. I'm real nerdy, and I'll just make notes and like lately I've been studying the scissortail flycatcher is in our backyard, and they eat their grasshoppers in our backyard, and
that's
they're
the
really
Oklahoma
neat.
State bird, man.
Is it?
Yeah,
dude, they're fierce little guys. Like last week I was out there, and the dew was on, and this one guy went down and he grabbed a grasshopper and he came up in there, and he's like, it was like slow motion, like a Fabio motion out of a movie. He's like going left and right, and all of a sudden I see the juices of the grasshopper flying left and right. I'm like, oh, God, that's pretty gruesome. But then right after that, I got to thinking, I was listening to the babbling brook behind us, and I got to thinking about mosquitoes. I'm like, do mosquitoes have brothers and sisters? Like, do they mate for life? Or how long do they live? You go through these weird things. But this is where I go out there with a notepad every day, and I make little notes, and then I'll come in and ask Rocket, hey, how long does butterfly live? 4 to 6 days. No shit. There's really neat things you can learn about the experience of being outside. And so I do that same thing now, where like last weekend I went down, did a 5-hour mountain bike ride celebrating my birthday, and I was going to do 50 miles, but that day it was hot and I was starting to suffer. I'm like, I think I'm going to do an hour for every decade instead. 5 hours is good. So I did a 5-hour, moto ride, but I wanted to go ride some incredible trails. I drove 2 hours just to ride for 5 and then drove back. But even, next weekend, I'm doing a 500-mile moto route on dirt, but on my motorbike, and it's all dirt. I'm doing a roughly 250 loop to the west of my cabin, and another 250 the next day to the northeast, and it's just experience. And I think that's a cool part now. I don't feel the pressure of I should be training for X so I could be ready for X race. It's like, I'm going to go do this big route, and I'm going to plan it out. It's going to be freaking awesome, and I'm going to maybe not look at Strava today. And obviously in this case, I'm doing my motorbike, so I won't, but I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to find a best dang freaking hamburger somewhere, or Reuben or taco, whatever the place has of some small town, and just enjoy it. Maybe check out the historical sites, whatever. So I think it's one of the neatest parts of getting older, but also after doing a lot, you just want to experience things. Yeah. You don't want to just ride. And I did feel like going into COVID, I was in the grind mode where I was doing things because I felt like I had to. I've done the Hawk multiple times. Like it's still the one every year that kind of grinds me that I don't go do it, because I have done it, all the disciplines there, distance wise, and I love the event, and I feel bad that I'm not supporting them because it's such an amazing club. But at the same time, I'm like, do I need to make a 20-hour round trip for this, or could I go do a really awesome run out here, or ride, or whatever it may be? And it's just, I find that I'm racing less, but it's not that I'm doing adventuring less. I just race less. And so my purpose now is stay fit, stay healthy, and go explore and enjoy the experience, and don't get lost in the training miles. You see too many people, myself included, over the years, you get in that mode of, I have to train today. You know, how many times have you, I'm sure you've probably done like I have, where people are like, hey, let's go on a ride tonight. I'm like, no, I can't. I have to be I'm doing an interval ride and I have to go do this. And it's this thing and it's just, you're not going to know how to do it. It's not going to work. Right. It's like, I should have just gone for a ride with my buddies. Like, that's stupid. In hindsight, I look back at the times I didn't ride with friends because I had to go do a certain exercise. That is stupid. I've never been a professional athlete. You know, I get maybe if you're a professional, maybe that's important. But for most of us that are training for do well, and that's about it, and make ourselves happy, I think we need to go out and enjoy it, enjoy time with friends. Enjoying the experience.
I've felt that same switch flip. You know, I'll be 52 in September, and you know, I guess 2018, 19, 20, even going into COVID, like around the same time, man, I was competing, I was crushing, I was doing well, and now I'm just like, I want to, even doing the race, I want to experience the race. Like, I want to be present, you know, and, you know, when you're hammering, even on the trails, you might be the most beautiful trail, but you're looking where your feet are landing, trying not to trip and eat dirt. And so, that switch has kind of flipped for me. And like when I did last time I did Moab, that was my focus, just to be present. I'm there to complete, not to compete. Let's go, you know? And it was great. It was fantastic. I had gratitude the whole time, man. And just, let's go. Let's get it done. It was hard, but you know, that's why we do it. Yeah.
Dude, I did I think it was the Long Beach. I know it was Long Beach. It was Long Beach half marathon, I think is what it was. Years ago, I did this race with my wife and I was faster than she was and she was fine with me running ahead. And so, you know, we went off, did the race, and then we're driving home afterwards, and she's like, "Man, the Queen Mary was so cool, wasn't it?" I think it was Queen Mary. It's a big cruise ship, and I was like, "I don't know if it was there when I was running." She's like, "Yeah, no, it's docked there. It was docked." I'm like, "Nah, I don't think it was there. I think I would have noticed a cruise ship." and then it was like a week later, we get our race photos, and you literally see me running along, and the Queen Mary's right here. I mean, it's a gigantic cruise ship, like 100 yards from me, and I didn't see it. And
that's
it's like,
awesome.
Wow. I mean, I don't even, and I'm a pretty aware guy. I mean, I'll normally see. I mean, even like when you were on this podcast, I notice every bird flying by out the yard. But here I missed the Queen Mary, but it just goes to show why we really shouldn't even talk on the phone when we're driving, right? Because if you can't even run and miss a cruise ship, you probably shouldn't talk on the phone while you're driving. So yeah, you're right. The experience is where it's at. And you know, I think I just see too many people so focused on that Strava time. And again, I'm guilty of it still to this day. And you know, it's rare that I don't record, you know, an exercise on Strava, but it makes you feel like you always have to push. Where before Strava, it'd be like, I think I'm going to walk. And even now, if I'm on a run and I'm like, or bike ride or whatever, if I'm sucking, you know, if I sit down for a second, like I stopped and looked for fossils the other day when I was mountain biking because there was a whole bunch of water that rained and flushed off this new dirt. And I thought, there might be some arrowheads here. And so I was looking on this trail for some arrowheads. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, I can't look very long because it's got to screw the Strava up. And I'm even telling myself, this doesn't matter. Like, no one cares. You know, if anything, I'm getting bonus time on the bike. But yet here I'm feeling bad that I'm looking for arrowheads in the dirt because my Strava time was going to be delayed when I was riding at a good clip and I knew I had a good pace that day and potentially one of my better paces. But it means nothing. It just doesn't mean anything. When I'm dead, like on my deathbed, I'm not going to look back. I'm like, man, remember that day I found that arrowhead, but yet I lost my Strava race PR. Like, that's really stupid. You know, no one's ever going to do that.
Yeah. Oh man, it's funny. It's just funny. You know, perspective, man. Perspective. I guess there's a time, you know, to compete and to race hard, but for me now, it's like let's enjoy it. You know, let's enjoy the time. Like I've got a hamstring issue right now while I'm training, and so I got to do student training. I can do power hiking, and it's fine for Bigfoot and stuff. So I'm going to do some power hiking, and like I actually thinking, like, I did it last weekend. I'm like, man, my Strava, it's going to look terrible. But you know what? Whatever. I'm out. You know, I'm doing my thing. You know, I'm out in the trail, having a good time, and it's good.
And you start thinking, oh, my friends are going to judge me, but then you're like, no one looks at Strava anymore anyway, right?
Yeah,
I don't think most
yeah.
of us even really, it used to be, when I had 40 friends on Strava, then you'd be like, oh, hey, Jack, good job. I saw you did a long distance. Now I don't even look at anything. I barely even look at my own stuff. I only look out of courtey in case somebody ever comments on something I did. I want to be respectful and I respond. But yeah, fortunately, it's one of the benefits of the platform growing so much is that there's so many people on it. We're all so interconnected anymore that no one looks at anything. But I do. There's the one thing I do. My buddy Kevin, you might know Kevin Goldberg.
I've had him on the podcast before.
Yeah, he gave me shit. This is many years ago, but I went for a run one day, and I think I ran like 19.98 miles or 19.99 miles. And at the time I was doing training blocks on time and not mileage. So I wasn't paying attention to mileage. And it's a great mental shift to do that.
Yeah.
It's just focused on time. And I really enjoyed it. And as I was cruising along, I apparently stopped at that, 0.1 or 0.2 shy of a significant distance. And he texted me, he's like, why would you do that? He's like, you're just a criminal. That's terrible. I'm like, why would I do what? And he's like, he sent me a screenshot of my Strava. He's like, why on earth would you stop that short of 20 miles or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't realize I did. But now every time, Kevin doesn't know this, but every time that I go for a run or ride, if I'm at like 19.7 or whatever, some distance of significance, but close to the upper end, I don't care personally about hitting that whole number. I do it just to mess with Kevin
just for Kevin.
Still, and that was like 10 years ago, but I still do it to this day. I'll go for a run. I'm like 3.98. Stop. Just to mess with me.
Suck it, Kevin.
I think about him all the time because it was so funny when he brought that up. I'm like, that is wrong. If I saw somebody else do it, I would think it's weird. But now that he called me on it, I do it all the time.
Yeah. Now it bothers him. You got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, if it bothers him, it must bother other people. This is kind of fun. Just mess with people.
Well, Josh, I have a list of some kind of rapid fire questions to throw out there for you before we wrap things up. But I think some of these are pretty interesting. But I guess the first thing, what trail shoe are you wearing now?
I have been wearing the Brooks. It's a yellow pair.
Okay.
The Brooks. It's whatever the Brooks yellow pair is. I don't know the model of it. I'm a huge fan of Ons, and I have been for a long time. But for trails, I just don't like them as much. And so so I bought the Brooks yellow pair a couple years ago, and I bought numerous of them now. And I genuinely love the shoe. I wish it had a rock plate. Just because I had a thorn in an adventure race this year. It was thin, probably about 3 inches long, about that long. And well, I felt it poked into my foot a little bit, but it didn't break off. And when I pulled that sucker out, the only reason it didn't fully go into through my heel is that it came in at just a touch of an angle, but man, it scared me. So I need to switch to a rock plate shoe now. So
it's probably either the Cascadia or the Ghost.
Cascadia. Yeah, Cascadia.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want
I like that shoe a lot. And I was never a big Brooks fan, but I trained in I think it was the Adrenaline for when I did my first marathon back in 2002. And I got to tell you, those are great shoes. But then, being in the specialty sports area for years, I was big on Ultra. I love Salmings, and they just closed down in the US. And I've actually tried, even when I was in Spain a few years back, I called every freaking country around Spain trying to get them at least shipped into me. And there's the Salming S3 or 4 or 2, whatever it was. That thing was awesome. I love that shoe. And I was so bummed when they closed down distribution here. And that's what led me to the Brooks. So
nice. Yeah. Back in the day when Brooks had the Pure series, when I was doing a lot of road running, I was running in those. And then I was Ultra. I was on Ultra's red team for years, and I still run a lot in Ultra trail shoes. That and I just discovered the Mount to Coast trail shoe. That's pretty good.
I want to try those. They look awesome. I've tried them on at the industry retail event that we go to each year. I tried them on, and they felt amazing. That $220 price point or whatever. that's pretty tough to swallow because
Yeah.
I'm nerdy with shoes. So what I do is I buy a ton of shoes and
Yeah.
I like to wear, I mean, I'm in the sporting goods business, right? So
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
dress attire is tennis
Yeah.
shoes. So
Yeah.
I buy a pair of tennis shoes, and once they start to look rough, they either turn into trail shoes or they turn into fishing shoes
Yeah.
or maybe hunting shoes or some adventure. But yeah, I have a hard time spending $220 on a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
I do
Some
think
of
the
'em-
price of shoes has gotten a little crazy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, like those Speedland shoes, they're pretty cool. They're they're way up there.
yeah, it's
But I heard they're
crazy.
great. That people swear by them. I hadn't. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
and they're supposed to. I have read. I mean, from the everybody I've talked to that's used them just raves about them, and they're supposed to last longer. It's just like
that's
with Ons. What I'll give them a huge shout out for is the quality of their shoes lasts extremely long, and
yeah,
the design aesthetic looks great. You know, road is great, and they last a really long time. So even though they're
yeah,
more expensive, they do last. But yeah, I've heard Mount Coast is the same, but
yeah.
I haven't
I'm
gone
liking
down
them.
that path yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
All right. Next question. Favorite recovery meal?
Well, we could go back to Taco Bell in this, but
Beer and Taco Bell. Is that?
yeah, beer and Taco Bell. You know, I would say I'm a big meat guy, and so
yeah.
I would say one of my favorites is chicken thighs with some rub on them and grilled chicken thighs, and
Yeah, that's good
you know,
stuff.
pair that with maybe a little guacamole and some pico and a beer, and it's about all I need.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. Hey, well,
Yeah.
you said about guac. One of the things I discovered, I think it was at Moab. You get a burger and you put guac on it. Just slather it with guac. So good at an aid station, dude. And it's all the things your body needs to keep going. It's so
Throw some
good.
pickled jalapenos on there. You get a little extra sodium. You got a little bit of heat. Yeah. Yeah.
Happy time, bro.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of the mountains. Just tear it up.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong, man. Just let it fly.
Yeah. You might need a porta potty if you put too much on it, baby.
Yeah, you might. Yeah. Your body will. It's amazing what the body will dissolve food wise when you're when you're out there doing stupid
especially when
things.
you burn in the furnace that you burn it hot enough, your body's like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I find you got to have something to strip. This is one of the things that I found about pickles and pickle juice. You need something to strip the sugars off your tongue. That was probably one of the biggest tips that I ever learned with specifically pickles or pickle juice. It resets things not only on your stomach, but also your tongue. Your tongue,
really?
If you look at your tongue in a race, you get all them sugars piled onto it. And because you're drinking sugar, and your tongue gets overloaded. Well, if your tongue is one of the first sensory mechanisms that controls your belly anyway. So if you strip them sugars off with some pickle juice, or again, a pickle or maybe bacon, but I find pickles or pickle juice specifically for me, that's like a starting baseline. And I'm sure pickled jalapenos probably do the same thing, but yeah, pickles or pickle juice, that strips some sugars down to get your tongue back to that kind of cleaner state. And then of course, it's good for your belly and for the sodium and everything from them as well. But yeah, that resets things for sure.
Nice. All right. Biggest mistake you've ever made during a race?
Man, you know what? I would say I threw up once so hard that I tore my psoas muscle, and it took like a year or two to heal from that.
Holy crap.
I would blame the hydration company that I was drinking at the time, but I don't think so. I think in fairness, it was eating all the shit on course. The gummy bear. I remember like this was only a 50K, but it was like mile 20 or something, and this was a Crown King Scramble, I think that's what they call it. And when I came in, they had an amazing aid station, and I remember eating M&Ms and gummy bears. Those are the two things I remember. But I think there was like some, the Oreo cookies, but then the peanut butter flavored ones too. I think I kind of ate everything because I think I was really hungry that day. I know I was, and ultimately that's probably what got me. And I remember not Crown King Scramble, Calico 50K. That's what this was. And in California, is this ghost town. This ghost town's up on the hill above the finish line, or the finish line's up this hill. And so as I was coming around the end of the trail, I'm like, thank God, 'cause I had to throw up for so long and I couldn't. And I'm looking up at the hill. I'm like, I'm almost there. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna throw up. I mean, it's right there. It's like a half mile away, and I threw up on a rock. Oh, and there was goldfish in there, and so I remember seeing the goldfish come out, and I was like, oh God. And then I was pretty good, but I tore my psoas. And so my biggest tip would be, don't eat the crap on course unless you train with that crap.
There
Pickles,
you go.
sure.
Yeah.
Bacon, sure. But, if you're in a running race, you got to be really careful what you're eating, because it is likely going to rock you. And it's the whole reason why I started Orange Mud is from Ironman. You're out there with all these type A people that train so hard and are so meticulous with their training plans, but on a race day, what are they going to drink on the run? Whatever's on the course, Gatorade, whatever, they eat a bunch of crap. And there's a reason why people throw up and get sick and have a hard time finishing the run portion of an Ironman, because your body went through hell all day. And then all of a sudden you're drinking whatever random crap is on course. That's why I built our bottle-based hydroquiver. I just wanted a bottle, my backup nutrition, cash, and keys for the beer garden. That's all I really wanted.
There you go.
And so that's how I built it. Genuinely, that's the whole root of where it came from, or the brand started. But yeah, it's one of the devils though, is eating the food on course that your body is not used to eating while you're training. And it's what's funny, right? We all know it. We all know better. If you ask yourself, what do you know you can do? Oh, I know I can run 50 miles. Okay. What do you normally eat when you run 50 miles? Well, I don't eat anything. I just drink my hydration mix. Okay. Well, what are you going to do on race day? Well, I'm going to drink my hydration mix, and I'm going to eat pizza and peanut butter cups and gummy bears and M&Ms, and I'm sure it's all going to be fine. Like,
and a PB&J sandwich that has sat out for 4 hours.
And some chicken broth that may or may not have the ratios right, and may or may not be disgusting. There's so many things that on race day can go so sideways, and there's no reason to do it. You can have a good race if you just plan accordingly. Or again, if you're like, hey, I know this race always has chicken quesadillas. Perfect. You know what? Throw a quesadilla in your backpack. It's not going to go bad in a few hours, probably. And take it while you're out there. And you'll probably, you'll find out whether it's going to work or not. And that way, when you go to race day and they have those awesome chicken and cheese quesadillas, you could throw one down or 5 of them. But yeah, train with the nutrition that you want to use on race day, and stick with it as much as humanly possible.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, last thing, you are doing a streak right now. 50. You're doing the 52nd week right now.
Yep.
Tell our listeners about what this streak is.
Yeah. So 2 friends of mine, Butch and Vicky Nelson, they started this, it's called a Iron Steel push-up challenge, I think is what it is on Facebook. And I used to race against them in adventure racing many years ago, and they're phenomenal racers and people, of course. And I had followed them doing this push-up challenge for quite some time, and they do daily push-up challenges, just daily, just whatever you want, 200, whatever. And so last year, I guess it was this week last year, which is right after my birthday. I'm guessing maybe I was like, this is going to be like my New Year's resolution for my birthday, I guess. I guess I don't actually remember why, other than I watched them doing this all the time, and they're like, today I ran 5 miles and did 50 push-ups. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I should do this. So I am a big fan of achievable, small goals that are achievable to make you feel like you're winning on a daily basis. And so what I do is I have a clipboard right here, and I do it in sets of 30. I started in sets of 20 in the beginning, but now I always do sets of 30. And like on here, I have them all. I have one left to do, and it'll put me at 510 technically. But so I've already done 480 this week. And but every single week I do a minimum of 500 push-ups. And nice. I will say the first 6 weeks, it was kind of humbling. I'm like, I am not getting better. It was seriously 4 to 6 weeks in, I was like, I might just not be very good at this. I just don't understand what's so hard. But I will tell you, all of a sudden about week 6, from there on, it's been good. And now it's I think Tuesday this week, I think I did 250 or something. And just because I don't know, it was a nice morning outside, and I was out there staring at mosquitoes. Knocked out push-up. But and I go through Sunday, so Monday to Sunday. So this week I'll probably do around 700 this week. I figured I'd just go a little heavy this week, given it's a 52nd week. But I'll tell you, this has caused multiple things because, I think a lot of us are really busy, right? A lot of us have kids and jobs that are demanding, and it may be hard to get 5 days a week. And so I've always been, for years, I've been more of a proponent of a 4-day. When I'm in training blocks, I plan for 4 days of training. I don't plan for 7 because I know I'm probably going to fail for 5 even. But I plan for 4, 5th being a bonus day. But anymore, I haven't really been like on a specific training plan. And so I thought I'm going to break down a goal that is something I've always wanted to work on is more core strength, and it's good for upper body, good for core, good for everything. And so by doing, again, if you do 120 a day, that'll put you at 480 in 4 days. It's actually pretty easy, right? Or you do 100 a day, however you want to break it down, you're done in 5 days. But so by doing this, I can spend about 5 minutes a day and do at least 500 push-ups in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very much time. And so when you look at it like that, there's always time. But would I feel good to go on a 5-minute run? Absolutely not. Like I've at least finally changed my mindset that I don't have to run an hour run to feel like I did something. I'm in a mindset now where I'm like, I go out and run 25 minutes. That's okay. That's still an exercise, and it's good. Or a bike ride. I pretty much need to ride at least 15 if I race. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting time. But or at least an hour and a half if it's maybe a technical mountain bike. But with this, it's like 5 minutes of exercise makes me feel like I did a good job today, just doing push-ups. And I think, and again, we all can cram in that. That is easy to do. And I've done many things like this over the years. Where it used to be at the start of the new year, I do 50 sit-ups every day and 50 push-ups. And I do that until I got bored. But it's like, I don't know, this one, I just wanted one goal. And now that I'm a year in, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to keep it at 500 because there's plenty of weeks I'll do 700 or 900, it just depends. But I like 500 because it's achievable and I believe I can do this until I'm dead. And I hope to do that. And what I find fascinating is that, I didn't really have a goal for it other than I just wanted to do it. I didn't even know how long I was going to do this. But again, now that I've done this, I built a very healthy pattern and I can tell you it's transformed my body and my core incredibly. Like when I go for a run, my runs and rides are mostly faster than they have been for years. Yet I'm training the least amount that I have in decades, as a matter of fact. And
that's wild. That's wild.
It's crazy. And even like when we went and did that 24-hour adventure race, we paddled for like, I don't know, it was a long time. I think we paddled for 10 hours in that race. It was a long time. And I hadn't paddled since, the race, that was in April. I did the race in February. We paddled for 15 miles in that one, I think, which is long enough. And then besides that, I hadn't paddled since the previous year in April. And yet my arms were perfect. And my core, which paddling is more core technically, I don't have the best paddling form, so it's still a lot of arms. But that being said, both were really beneficial. But I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. And again, mentally, I feel very satisfied that when I wake up and before 8 o'clock or before 7 o'clock, a lot of times I'll already have all my push-ups done. And I'm like, well, hey, I can do more this afternoon, or maybe I don't. Maybe I just chill and be satisfied with what I did. So I think we're all looking for that ego pleasing simplicity. Sometimes it doesn't have to be, I only ran 20 minutes today, I'm a loser, right? It's like I look at it as I need something that's going to make me be healthy long term. And I think most of us runners and cyclists are the absolute worst when it comes to doing core workout and weights. And so like for me, it's translated to, okay, I'm not only going to do push-ups, but I'm going to add in, like I have a whole dumbbell set upstairs and I'll do dumbbell workouts, which is great too. And I think more of us, of us endurance athletes, we need to incorporate weights into our workouts.
Agreed.
And we just don't. It's like, there's not enough time because you have to run, right? You have to run, you have to bike. okay, well, maybe you don't have to run and bike as much. Maybe you need to spend a day or two in the gym, or again, have a small goal that's achievable. So yeah, it's my, I feel like stupid talking about it because, I'm sure my wife is like, he's talking about his push-ups again. So I'm really proud of it. It's like, I have never felt so good. My back feels fantastic. At 49 years old, my back feels better than it probably ever has. And I guarantee you that's all push-ups. It really is.
That's cool.
It's fascinating. And again, the transfer of power on my mountain bike specifically, I've noticed over the years biking is something that if I reduce my load, my wattage goes down. And I have watt meter in my bike, so I can measure my output and my power is up. And yet I'm not hardly riding. But I'm just doing push-ups. But, a lot of people don't appreciate cycling is a function of how are you translating your energy to the pedals. And it's not just from your legs. There's a lot of are you keeping your back nice and straight? And do you have the proper form and alignment on your bike? And I think that's where the push-ups are helping with that. So yeah, I'd encourage anybody to try it. It's worth to start with 50 a week. I don't know, whatever makes you happy. But like I said, it's been one of the coolest things I've ever done. And I love it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like streaks like that, doing things like that. That's fun. It's just little challenges.
Yeah. I mean, like I see people doing the run streaks and I've done that too. And then I hurt myself and I'm like, I'm not so sure I should do run streaks. I don't think for my body type, I obviously don't have the perfect running form because I see some people do it for, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever straight. I'm like, man, that's fascinating. But if I did that, I would likely end up injured. I just don't believe I have that. Some people have that perfect running gait. And you can tell, like my son, he's got a perfect running gait. Me, I'm more like a Clydesdale. I'm not designed to go like that every day. But I can do these every day and still be tough as nails and hopefully still kick his ass playing basketball or on a mountain bike.
You got to do it as long as you can, Dad.
The days are numbered for me, man.
That's
I've
right.
got like every day that I can still beat my kids in sports is like, it's a win. He can already crush me. He set the school record this year in the mile 3 times. I kept getting faster. And so now I can barely bike with him when he's running. So it's insane. So
that's awesome.
Me in a 5:14 mile is not going to happen. So he's only getting faster.
Well, Josh, man, it's been great visiting with you, man, getting to know you and just talking about all the things endurance, man.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate you coming on the podcast,
Likewise.
man.
No, thanks for having me. It's always a good time. Love talking adventure.
All right, man. We'll probably do it again at some point, brother.
I'm in. We'll go back and do the hawk and talk about stepping on copperheads.
We need to do that. I need to do, when I do the hawk, we'll get back on again.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I'd be in. I'll come do it.
All right. Sounds good, brother.
All right.
Take care.
Yeah. I don't move fast, I move faithful. Pressure on my chest, but my faithful world saying quit. Take a break, cool. But the cross on my back ain't graceful. Legs burn, lungs tight, road long, dark mile, no crowd, no theme song. Just me and the voice that I lean on, saying keep going, son, breathe strong. I've hit walls that I built myself. Doubted God, tried to will myself. Ran ahead, tried to fix my steps. Ended up flat on my face, fell helpless. But grace met me in the wreckage. Mercy showed up in the pressure. I ain't strong cause I'm fearless. I'm strong cause I trust my shepherd. When the pain says stop and the doubt gets loud and the night feels long and the crowd ain't around, I don't need hype, I don't need applause. Just one more step, that's enough. Relentless, forward progress, step by step, no promise. Not perfect, just pressing through the fire. Keep stretching, if I crawl, I'm still moving. If I fall, I'm still choosing. Faith over feeling, truth over what I'm seeing. Relentless. 100 miles in the heat of the doubt. Aid station empty, I'm bleeding out. Spirit willing, but my flesh won't thin. That's when the real race begins. See, anybody runs when it's easy. Anybody shouts when it's breezy. But obedience when it costs you something. That's belief, that's really not dreaming. I don't chase comfort, I chase calling. Don't chase platforms, I chase falling. On my knees in the quiet morning. 4 a.m. and my pride dissolving. Life ain't measured by highlight reels. It's measured in private meals. And miles no one ever sees. And prayers that nobody feels. You want growth, slow grind. You want depth, it's long night. You want faith, it's closed doors. Still saying, Lord, I'm yours. When the pain says stop, and the doubt gets loud, and the night feels long, and the crowd ain't around, I don't need hype, I don't need applause. Just one more step, that's enough. Relentless, forward progress, step by step, no promise, not perfect, just pressing through the fire, keep stretching. If I crawl, I'm still moving. If I fall, I'm still choosing. Faith over feelings, truth over what I'm seeing. Relentless. Rain on the trail, mud on my knees, heart still beats, that's enough for me. Storm in my chest, fear in my head, but you said walk, so I step instead. Not fast, not flash, not famous, just faithful. Find faith, not fast, not fast. Relentless, forward progress, through doubt and through darkness. When I'm weak, you're strongest. That's the promise. If I limp, I'm still moving. If I'm lax, I'm still choosing. Kingdom over comfort, cross over convenience. Relentless.